I remember watching this one as a kid and being hooked like instantly. Compared to stuff like Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, Naruto, everything was bright, sunny. This one hooked you in like an entirely different way. It was always on at nighttime, so you already feel like out of sorts watching it. The way the theme music like kind of kicked in right on time, so you know it's time to look at the screen because you know he about to write some names in a notebook. You know that weird scene where Ryuk does the handstand because he ain't have enough apples in his diet and he's going through withdrawal symptoms. I think that's the moment that hooked me for real. It's just so weird and off kilter. I don't know what it is, man. Actually, I do know. I know what it is. It's that ever so prevalent surrealness I be talking about, man. It's like, what am I even looking at right now? You know, surrealism and horror kind of go hand in hand. In fact, surrealism can be a great replacement for horror altogether sometimes, you know? Think like Get Out. This show was different because, you know, the main character, he wasn't a hero. In fact, he was Breaking Bad. He broke bad in the first episode, and he eventually even gives Heisenberg a run for his money. You know, Light starts using the Death Note expeditiously, and he's going way too hard with it, like even in the first episode. Turn evil under zero pressure. And I like that. They got it out the way. We know he's kind of just an evil jerk from the get-go. And since he's pretty much already crossed multiple lines on the second episode, you end up parking your keister right there because you just gotta see how he gets caught. I rewatched this joint with my pops, funnily enough, and he was hooked like the whole time. It's crazy. We got to the part where L figured out that Kira and Light were in Japan. And he thought it was over for him right then and there. He thought he was caught right there. And I was sitting there looking like, hey, you about to witness the greatest game of cat and mouse ever put on screen? You welcome for that. In fact, after we finished it, I showed him that Simpsons episode where they parodied Death Note. And he even ran that back with a rerun or two. So, it's a good show. That's the one we talking about today. Right. Don't make me have to go reloading it now. Hollows hit him up like I can see now. Don't make me have to go reloading it now. Bullets clearing out the whole arena. Just gotta lay him down. Anybody, save me from these African hooligans. The Death Note falls from the sky one day, and Light just happens to walk by and pick it up. That's it. It could have literally been anyone. If you were born in the 90s like me, you might have heard of a little thing called Nami. And they tended to air a certain type of genre. So most of the shows involved a big battle, lots of spectacle. You might get a transformation or 2 or 10. So right away, we know he's not like the second coming of King Kage, Samurai Jesus or anything like that. He's just some dude. So the show really treats its audience like an adult. The first one, for real. No power-up is coming to save you later on, bro. You better think. You gotta think. So it's him and his notebook against the world. Well, that is until he meets, what's-his-face. And he basically learns that Ryuk isn't actually gonna stop him. He's not gonna do anything. He's just here to watch. And to eventually write his name in his other Death Note one day. But until then, he's chilling. So there's no Botan, there's no Jiraiya, no assistants, no mentors. It's just him. It's just him and his new imaginary friend who's real. Best of luck. Now, Light isn't special, but he thinks he is. And you know how these shows are when the main character gets in their feelings. You can't tell him anything. The Notebook could have gotten picked up by literally anybody else. But you think you're destined to be the god of the new world just because you got a 4.0 GPA. These are unserious activities, I'm telling you. That's why they say youth is wasted on the young. Ain't no prophecy to fulfill, Light. You just probably about to get caught, bruh. Your pops is head of police, he not head of the leaf. Ain't no old guru around to unlock your potential. Now you about to drive yourself mental trying to stay 2 steps ahead of the guy who had you figured out from Jump Street. You know? So you best get ready to take this L. Now, Light does indeed have a great run in his first episode. In fact, Ryuk is even surprised at the amount of names he's written down. And I can see why he thought he'd get away with it, at first. Magical book. Nobody knows he has it. Even if they knew what he was doing, it's still an unbelievable story. I get it. But it just goes to show. You might think you are Billy Badass in the flesh. But everyone knows all it takes is one single solitary detective suddenly deciding to take your case weirdly personal for some reason to bring you to justice. We've seen it in Breaking Bad. We've seen it in every show, every cop show. Every time somebody doing something bad, one person gets weirdly interested in them and they think about them all day and all night. It's like they love them. And you only really gotta slip up one time, be a little slow, be a little late. How you ain't gonna never be slow, never be late. Most anime would tell you to choose your friends, but Light, he alienates himself from everybody for the sake of this secret he got. He's alone. There's no one around to give him like a different perspective. Every decision is his. He ain't got no friends in like an amazing He ain't got nothing, man. He ain't got no mentors. I just said that. He doesn't seem to really want to take out every criminal for real. He just wants control. It's kind of similar to how they did things in the first episode of Breaking Bad, but where Walter still holds the mask up, like his facade, and to an extent believes himself to be an upstanding citizen, even at, this early. Just trying to provide for his family, Light jumps off the deep end and is painted as the villain in episode 1. And it's the first anime I remember watching where the main character is the problem. I had to highlight this one because this one is wild because he got the notebook, right? And then he gotta find out her name and kill her before she get to where she going and before she gets suspicious of why he won't leave her alone. And she's using an alias, so when she does give her name, it's an alias, but he shouldn't know that. It's crazy. It's dope. It's really good writing. Had me on the edge of my seat. So he ended up needing to ask for some identification. So he ended up asking her to work with them to catch Kira. So he was just like, let me just see some ID. We can get you working. And boom, bang, boom. She went to go, yeah. Brilliant writing. It's crazy. And then he got all cocky in the end. He was like, and then he confessed. He was like,
because I'm Kira. My father's cell phone might be available now. Do you want to see if you can talk to him?
No, thank you. I have nothing to say to him.
Then goodbye, Naomi Misora.
And that's what's up. That was dope. But the sheer cockiness, the sheer tomfoolery and the way he just confessed and then he really leveled up that day with the Death Note, man. He couldn't he probably felt untouchable. We gonna let Light enjoy this moment. He earned this one, straight up. It's like when you've been doing something for so long that you start to develop a certain comfort, a certain swagger about it, like for yourself. It's like that time Sasuke walked down Danzo after he realized he had him cold. Y'all remember that fight? Now, of course, we've got to cover the episode where he finally, And if you ask the kid version of me what happens after this point in the story, I couldn't tell you. Once L's body dropped, so did the viewership, at least in my eyes. Cause who the hell are these two posers? Light thought he had to just take out L, but he didn't account for the fact that L might have disciples and whatnot. So Light must not have seen enough hood movies to know that things don't end when you kill that first dude, man. Pretty soon, some fool gonna try to smoke you. Light went out like Doughboy, and you hate to see it. That scene where L is just standing in the rain, you just knew it was over for him. I mean, he had a great run and all that, but he was going up against a magic notebook. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think there's a protocol or a procedure for that. Plus, there are two Shinigami hanging around throwing monkey wrenches in your plans and secretly helping Kida out. So, in fact, I didn't even remember that Light got Rem to do the deed for him. And shout out to Rem, by the way. Whichever, was the only one who seems to see Light for who he really is. Like, disgusting. But it doesn't even really seem to matter because he still got her to take out He still got them to take out L for him. And I think Rem dies after that too, so it's cold-blooded. And side note, L finally being taken out was kind of like anticlimactic on the first watch. If you're having a conversation or doing something else, you might actually be surprised when he's just not in the show no more. This episode really solidifies things for Light, and he can take the world over, whatever he's planning to do. I forgot what he was trying to do. This was a lot of people's first anime with a little more of a mature plot. For starters, the main character has a dad for like 90% of the show. The art style, the tone, the colors, the premise, they all scream, you're not a kid anymore, you know? Time to go watch some Berserk or some Attack on Titan or some Junji Ito. But there's a good chance life will at some point come along and kick your ass so hard you'll end up feeling just as broken and or as unhinged as these characters. Probably not Light, hopefully not Light. Probably hope, you know. All in all, this one kept me on the edge of my seat like all the way through until we lost L. This type of genre is what got me into watching Junji Ito as an adult. And it really don't get no scarier than that. I can't really find nothing to this day that tops that. So by the time you hit adulthood, the only folks making anything scary are him and like Stephen King. And I used to be so hooked on like the horror genre, I would listen to creepypastas at like night till I fell asleep because you gotta listen to something, right? I did this all the way from like 2013 to 2024, I swear to God. And let me say, they do not hit the same anymore. I had to stop. But like I'm saying, nothing scratches that itch no more. So fortunately, everyday life is, you know, scary enough. 10 out of 10 anime. Maybe a 9 out of 10. That part where Misa just kind of bursts in the song. Y'all remember that? Unprompted. Sometimes music is so unnecessary, man. I don't understand how the plot can get going and then we undercut it with a song and like take away all the momentum. You know, sometimes music just doesn't have a place in media. Anyway, here's some music.
Baddest Barbies on my shoulders, whole team on my back. Nothing is for granted, nigga. Ain't no turning back. Keep it moving, yeah. That's all I know. On the phone, you could tell them I don't fall for nothing. Nah, try and pray for some, yeah. I won't fall in traps. Only time I press is with a dirt nap. Little homie fall back. That's all I know.